15,917 miles is what it reads on the odometer. And I'm just going to go over how it has held up to those miles. You know, the engine, exterior, interior, the components, the seats and whatnot. And I'll just give you, you know, my opinion of how, you know, it's been treating me. And with that, let's go ahead and start with the engine. I think that's a little bit easier to do. So again, this is a 2016 Mustang GT with 5.0, obviously right here. The engine has been great. I think I've only had about, for the 2 years of ownership I've had it, I think, no, is it 2 years? 15, 16, about 3 years. The ownership I've had it, I think I've only changed the oil about 3 or 4 times. And this engine has no knocking. And I know on the previous Mustangs, I think it was from the 2011 to the 2014, if I'm not mistaken, those engines, once you rev them a certain limit, or you know, you would push them hard, I don't know what it was, it'll be knocking one of the heads, I don't know. It was super annoying. I used to have a 2013, and that's, oh my gosh. I never even really got on, well, I'm lying, I did get on it, but every now and then when it was cold outside, you'd be just, you know, driving down, and then all of a sudden, when you come to like an alley especially, you hear this annoying knocking noise, and I'm like, well, what is that? But I guess it was just the characteristics of the engine. Nevertheless, this engine's a lot better. They have some Boss 302 components embedded into this engine, so you know, it revs up a lot nicer. It's a lot quicker. It's more, I would say the power band is a lot smoother. The other 5.0 or the previous generation was a lot instant, you know, especially with the manual transmission. You put your foot on the gas and that SOB would just rev the heck out of the engine. This one's a little more smoother, you know, it's more controlled, in my opinion. I'm not, you know, an expert, but this is how I felt it. It's a lot more smoother. But this engine is great. No problems whatsoever, no ticking, nice and quiet. And I'll start it up in a few minutes so I can show y'all. One of the mods I did on this thing was the strut tire brace. But I just put it on the red car because, you know what, I didn't really need it. And plus, to like I know it's like really dumb to even say that, but to get out your dipstick, it was so hard because you had that big old bar. You had to kind of like wrap it around the freaking brace and then kind of just like mesh it in there, and if you don't do it right, it won't even go in. So I gave it to the red car, I put it on there. What I did keep with, and I recommend anyone who has a Mustang without this, the K-member brace, please get that ASAP, because if you don't get that, if you have, you know, just like a Mustang, you know, without none of this stuff, it would feel like a 4x4, like the suspension would droop down when it hit a pothole, this side will go up, and it would just feel like you were like on waves. But by installing this, it took care of everything. So now it rides straight on the freeway. It's a lot more safer. I feel more comfortable changing lanes, and a little bit more comfortable when I'm you know, when there's like an uneven terrain on the highway. It's a lot more smoother. It doesn't kind of like follow it. Nevertheless, that's the engine. Great engine, by the way. I think it's 435, 400, and hopefully I'll bump up those numbers up in the future, but as of right now, I just want to keep it stock. You know, I'm just taking it to school and work, so I don't want to do nothing major on it. Let's walk around the car. Chips, I'm pretty sure I have plenty of chips in the front, you know, from riding on the freeway, going 100, wait, 100? No, I'm just kidding. What? No, just kidding. Going, you know, highway speeds, and you know, you get chips from 18-wheelers and stuff like that. Oh, that reminds me. I think I had about 500 miles on it. I was on the freeway, you know, going to work, and then I heard this loud bang in the back, and I was like, what is that? Well, later to come find out, I guess one of the pickups, or one of those big old 18 semis, the semis, they threw a rock and it just chipped the heck out of this paint, but you can barely tell. I put some Sharpie there, so, you know, that's the plus about black. Yeah, they're gonna get a lot of scratches, but whip out a Sharpie and just start dabbing it in, clean it off, and you're good. That's probably the only major scratch I have in the car. Other than that, it's been holding up very great. The paint is not bad. You know, the Texas heat here, it beats the heck out of this paint. And I've had it out, you know, in the sun for like 2.5 years, 2+ years of, well, however long I've owned this car, so 2 years, and you know, it's held up great. No scratches, no clear peeling off, because that's one of the major issues with black, because black, you know, obviously attracts more heat than any other color. It's great, nothing major there. So let's go to I got the engine, the paint. Let's go to the back. So what I did with this car, if you haven't seen that video already, is I installed the IRS bushings, the subframe bushings, and I believe, oh, the alignment bushings. And I'll tell you what, let's see if you can get a little shot of it. Let me see if I can find a good, let's see here. Oh my God. Ugh. Well, there's some right there, and then I put the aluminum bushings up there on the differential, so that got rid of all that shakiness. So now when I launch the car, the wheels are not, you know, moving up and down or moving this way. It's a lot more stable. Burnouts are a lot easier. I'll tell you what, this thing will spin tires at, if it's raining, you can spin them at 1200 RPM. You can just rev it just a little bit and all the tires, I guess it's just that it's so stiff that it doesn't even want to move, so it has no slack to play with. So it just spins the tires. So I don't know what's the deal with that, but it's all good. All right, so that's the back. Let's go to the interior. Just take a look at it. Door sills or door panels. This thing is great. No wear and tear. And sometimes I leave the windows open, but so you can see nothing major. And again, we do put armor on, stuff like that, but overall it's held up great. The buttons are nice. You know, they're not peeling off or anything like that. They function right. They still feel the same as if I bought it new. Door handles are, you know, like plastic. That's okay, it doesn't matter, whatever. The seats, you know what? I was always skeptical about leather because freaking leather, like over time, they'll start to tear. But if you take good care of it, it honestly looks pretty good to me. I mean, yeah, I got a little wear right here, but you can barely tell. It's held up nicely. All right, let's move along to the interior. Okay. Starting off for you guys. All right. So the gauges are working perfectly fine. I haven't had any trouble codes. I haven't had any issues with this engine. I think only one flat tire, but you know, that's why the tire pressure monitoring system, it did flip on, but take care of that. The Sync 3 and the audio, climate, phone, Navi, and all that works great. I haven't had any issues with this. It's always performed as I guess Ford intended it. The buttons are great. You know, they haven't like lost their rigidity, if that makes sense. Like, you know how buttons, when you press them a long time, they kind of wear out, but no, not this. It's great, still nice, and you know, they have a little bit of weight to, whoa, front train left front tire, okay, whatever. You know what's funny? You know how I said that I haven't had any trouble codes? What are the odds of actually having a trouble code? Hold on. Oh, there it goes. What? Train left front tire. Huh, whatever. And that little deal right there, I guess is for the tires, paint them up. Huh, well, anyways. Again, the dash is great, you know, no peeling or cracking. Let's see here. The driver, you know, and all the people drive on the driver's seat, or on the passenger, so nothing worn out there. The back seat, great, you know, nothing special. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and end this video with a nice rev.